Hey everybody, Eric Sullivan here again. We're going to be doing some more plotting with matplotlib. Very good stuff. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at subplots. Now, a subplot is when you've got multiple plots that are either side by side or stacked in some sort of matrix style array. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to plot a bunch of functions like sin x, 2 sin x, 3 sin x, something like that. Just a bunch of functions, but I'm going to put them in plots that are all side by side. So first thing I'm going to do is define the domain. This is always where you start when you're using matplotlib. Define the domain. All right, in this case, I'm going to do a linspace from 0 to 2 times pi. I'll do 100 points. So that is 100 points from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, that's going to be my domain. So f, I'm going to make a function, I'm going to make that the sine function. G, I'm going to make that the, 2 times, and p dot sine function. H, I'm going to make, let's see here, we'll do 3 times. And k is 4 times the sine function. Remember, lambda functions are just saying, hey, lambda is the thing telling Python, this is the variable. So remember, on paper, we would write that as f of x equals sine x. Right? On paper, we would write this as g of x equals 2 sine x. And remember, on paper, we can be lazy. We don't even write the multiplication, but in programming, you absolutely have to write the multiplication. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want sine, cosine, sine, 2 sine, 3 sine, 4 sine. I want them side by side. So I'm going to do plt.subplots. I want the number of rows to be 2, and I want the number of columns to be 2. Now I'm also going to make the figure size bigger so it's a little bit easier to see. So I'll make it like 12 by 8 or something like that. Okay, we'll come back to what that does in a second. Now, the left-hand side of this, I've unpacked 2 different things, fig and x. Fig is the entire figure with all of the little plots inside, and ax is the axes. I just as well could have called it axes. It's actually common to do x when you do subplots. So if I do x of row 0, column 0 dot plot, I can do x comma f of x, and I'm going to make that guy blue, and I'm going to make him dashed. And I'm going to do x00.grid, and then I'll just do a plt.show to show you what we've built so far. So hopefully this subplot thing makes a little more sense once you see this. So we have a 2 by 2 grid of plots. I said 2 rows, 2 columns. I've got a grid that's 2 rows, 2 columns. I made the figure size bigger. I can monkey with this and make it smaller if you wanted to. That's perfectly okay. I also wanted it to be visible, so I chose something a little bit bigger. Like, sure, whatever, that's probably fine. And now if I want to fill in the top left corner, this is row 0, column 0. So I said, go to my axes, call on row 0, column 0, and do a plot. Well, now I can copy that. Let's paste it. Let's do row 0, column 1. Remember that Python indexes everything from 0, so we're doing 0, comma 1. Let's make that g of x, and we're going to make him red, and we'll make him dash dot, just for kicks. And I'm going to run it. There we are, sine of 2x. Now they look the same, so that's a little bit obnoxious. X, 0, 0. Let's do set the y limits from -5 to 5. Okay, that seemed to work. Copy, paste. I'm going to set the y limits on this part from -5 to 5 also. Now I can actually start comparing these guys. That's kind of nice. Copy, paste. Well, so now let's go down to row 1, column 0. So row 1, column 0, I need to change all of these. Row 1, 0. row 1, column 0, and I want to plot, let's see, the next one I named was H. I'm going to plot H, and we're going to make him black, and we'll make them solid. Okay, so now I've got sine x, 2 sine x, 3 sine x. Everybody's looking pretty good so far. Let's copy that and paste it. And now I want row 1, column 1, because it's row 0, row 1, column 1, column 0, column 1. So down here is 1, 1. And I'm going to do K, and we're going to make that guy magenta, make him just dots. Let's see what happens. Okay, and we've got them all. We've got a nice, beautiful collection of subplots. Well, that's actually pretty nice looking. Now I could, and I'm going to leave it to you to finish this completely, I could set a title on each one. So this one was 4 sine of x. Right? So I'm going to let you set the title on the others and go ahead and make that actually happen. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, oh yeah, by the way, pause, go set the titles. Now we're going to go do something else. Okay, instead of doing this in 2 rows, 2 columns, maybe I wanted a fewer plots. So maybe, here, let's do this. I'm going to grab the import and all the function definitions. Down here, I'm going to do this again, but now I'm going to say fig and axes are plt.subplots of my number of rows is 1, my number of columns is, let's say, 3. Okay, now what I want this time is just 3 plots that you read from left to right. Well, this will actually be a little bit simpler. I can say axis 0.plot x versus f of x, and we'll make him blue dashed, plt.show. Let's just see what it did there. And now I've got a row of plots. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And we'll make it like 12 by 6. Sure, there we go. And I'll throw a grid in there just for kicks. So now I have a row of plots, and if there's only a row of plots, you only need 1 index. It's index 0, index 1, index 2. So I can come in here, copy, paste, paste. So I'm going to do index 1 as G. He was red. Index 2 as the next plot, whatever it was, and he was, oh, who really cares, I guess, dash dash. Now I'm gonna set the limits here, axis 2, I'm gonna set the y limit to -5 to 5 again, just to do so it's gonna be consistent. And then now put me on pause, go set the axis limits for the other 2 plots, get titles for the other 2 plots, get X labels for the other plots, all of that good stuff. But this is just a quick rundown of how you would do subplots with matplotlib. See you in the next video.